Hi, we've done a large number of videos on sound. A couple of years ago, we built an LRAD system. We took it out into the field, tested it, and then we demonstrated several methods you can use to protect yourself from an LRAD. We built an electronically driven active noise cancellation system, as well as studying the properties of different types of materials that can be used to block or absorb sound, including helium. What we discovered is that when you compare all of the properties, including cost, availability, and performance, one of the very best materials that you can use for that purpose turns out to be good old acoustic ceiling tiles. Hold that thought. We've also done a number of videos on speakers, and a few years ago we did a video on DMLs, distributed mode loudspeakers. Unlike a typical commercial speaker, which uses a voice coil to drive a thin membrane or diaphragm in a piston-like fashion that produces pressure waves which you hear as sound, in a DML, that same voice coil drives an entire panel of material, causing it to bend and to flex and to twist, generating sound from its entire surface area, just like a musical instrument, like the soundboard in a piano, like the body in a guitar. It produces very realistic sound and has the added advantage of being very inexpensive. It has a flat form factor, and you can construct the entire thing in a couple of minutes. To do this, we studied dozens of different types of materials that can operate as the panel. They have to have certain properties. They need to be relatively flexible. They have to be lightweight so that the drivers can accelerate the surfaces, and they have to have a high damping coefficient so they don't resonate. And when you look at that and combine that with cost and availability concerns, one of the very best materials out there is good old acoustic ceiling tiles. So we decided to combine both of those systems together and build this. What we have is 10 DML speakers located entirely around a small enclosure that contains a computer workstation where someone can sit, they can play games, they can use this as an audio editing booth, and it produces very good sound. Then we located this entire setup in the worst acoustic environment we could find, which is the large room in our warehouse. Concrete floors, steel beams, hard surfaces, yuck. Acoustically, this is awful. And the only nod we gave to modifying the environment a little bit is we placed a small piece of carpet on the floor right below where the user sits to decrease reflections of sound from the floor right below their feet. And this system really does work. Because of the absorption of the material in the speakers, the sound produced by one set of speakers is absorbed by its compatriots on the other side of the booth so you don't get any kind of resonance. And when you walk into the enclosure and leave the resonant, loud, noisy environment of the warehouse, sounds become quite muffled. Now, as we proceed through the video, I'll show you exactly what you need to do if you want to reconstruct something like this in your home or in your apartment. But I want to get to the testing. And one of the issues you've got whenever you're doing an audio-based video is that whatever we hear here has to be recorded on microphones, uploaded to YouTube, compressed, and then downloaded to whatever kind of audio equipment you're listening on. Something can get lost in the translation. So what we've done is we've invited over a bunch of test subjects, some of our friends, and we've asked them to be honest and give their opinion when they go into the booth and they listen to various music tracks. And then we'll do sort of an exit poll and get their opinion about what it sounds like. And then finally, remember I said that these panels produce sound from all of their surfaces, inside as well as out. So at the end of the video, we're going to crank this up a couple of notches and we're going to have some fun. Let's get started.
I got everything set up, so yeah, go on there. Okay, so the booth, he is. Yeah, this is recording better. Okay, so this booth here that we have, you can sit down in the chair there. We have the cameras going. And just so you know, these two little things hanging here are mics, just so we can measure like sort of how these speakers are sounding and how you sound and everything.
All right.
But what we have here are a bunch of songs that are all copyright free. You can use the mouse and keyboard and everything. When you play it, in the lower right-hand corner where it says Activate Windows, it'll have a volume scroll thing there. So if you want to make it louder or quieter, you can do that.
All right. How do I play it?
Just double-click any of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you can skip through them. You can skip through them there, just the audio there. When you don't want to keep listening to this song, you can X, and you can go to a different one. So you can choose whatever you want.
Awesome.
And just go through, do whatever you want. It's really up to you. That's the whole point of this thing.
Okay.
Okay, go for it. Make it as loud as you want.
All right. The last one.
So what'd you think?
There were like actual speakers around, like surround sound.
Was it as good? Would you say it's better than like a typical computer workstation where you got a couple speakers and a sub or something like that?
Oh hell yeah! It was like crazy, like this bass and everything.
Was it as good, you'd say, as headphones?
Oh, better than headphones.
Really?
Yes.
Super. Super. Let's give somebody else a chance. You get something to eat.
All right.
Okay.
You fucking loon.
Play whatever you want.
I'm going to. What are you? Okay. What are you?
So what did you think?
Sounded really good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that like it was crisp and clear. Like you could hear well,
Yes.
you could make out the details in the music and everything like that.
I could make out each instrument where it was supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And would it be as good as a pair of headphones, which is sort of the standard of like ultimate?
I have a pair of headphones that I like better, but that's
Okay.
a matter of preference, and they were very expensive.
Yeah.
But this sounds really, really good.
Okay. That's
Like,
what we're looking for.
Genuine and honest.
Okay, great. No, that's perfect. So you want to get some pizza? So the way the booth is set up is as a 5.1 system. So it's got a left front, left rear, right front, right rear, and center speaker. The 0.1 represents the sub. One of the issues with these panels is that the lower frequency performance improves as you increase the size of the panels. But to get to really low frequencies, you need enormously large panels, and that gets kind of impractical. Because the effective drop-off is around 120 hertz, what we do is we set up a sub, that's the 0.1, and put its crossover at about 150 hertz to broaden and flatten out the response to the lowest frequencies. The other thing you'll notice is the different colors of panels. Despite the fact that the acoustic ceiling panels are best overall, to get the very highest frequencies, the best performance, you want something even lighter and stiffer. And extruded polystyrene is an excellent material for doing that. So after testing, we decided to replace 4 of the 10 speakers with these polystyrene panels, and now we get a great response from 20 to 20 kilohertz. It sounds a lot better. The other thing is that because we have 10 speakers, we obviously are running 5 channels, so the speakers are working as pairs. So these 2 speakers represent the left front, and they're operating in series. We send the power into one side of the actuator, we bridge it over to the other actuator, and then send it back to the amplifier. Because each of these drivers that we get from Parts Express are rated at a 4 ohm impedance, by running them in series, they're seen by the amplifier as an 8 ohm impedance, which is ideal for how the amplifier operates. And that's kind of an interesting thing to keep in mind whenever you're using speakers and amplifiers. You can adjust the impedance by either running speakers in series or in parallel. In series, we double the impedance. If we ran them in parallel, instead of 4 and 4, we would have a 2 ohm overall resistance. So it's a useful piece of information.
Yeah, maybe you should. Okay, so what we're doing here is we have this little booth thing, and it'll be way more extreme later. So the booth, if you want to take a seat. So, go for it. It's all you know. Yeah, fun, right? Some of them suck. And you can play as many as you want.
So what'd you think?
That's pretty good.
It's pretty
that sounds
good?
literally like a movie theater. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like this whole thing probably costs about $200.
Really?
Yeah, and you can build it in a weekend. I mean, it's really not difficult.
Wow.
Would you compare this, like, say, to any kind of like regular speaker system, like in a house or something like that? Would you say it's at least as good as that?
I mean, I think it sounds more like a sound system, like a stage kind of thing. Like it sounds more like you know, like the big black speakers they have on.
Yeah,
It
right.
sounds more like that. than
Would you
like a-
would you say it's as good as a headphone set, which is like the ultimate standard?
It's definitely close. I think.
Okay, so
yeah,
it's
definitely
a
close.
close. Okay,
I-
it might not win.
Well, I'm saying it depends on how nice the headset is.
Right, if it's a Walmart pair,
Yeah,
maybe not.
It's better than some headphones I've had.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
No, definitely good.
All right, come on, let's get something to eat.
here?
Okay, yeah, you can sit down. You figured out the quickest out of all of them. Yeah, exactly. Good. And you can change as much as you want. Do whatever you want.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, so John, what do you think?
It sounds amazing.
Hey, you want to just click it off?
Oh, sure. How do I do that?
Oh, you can just click off. Just click on the screen. Oops. Oh, okay. So what do you think about just the quality?
The quality sounds really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds a lot better than some of the headphones I use for gaming.
Really?
It really sounds amazing, and there's not really any spots in here where the sound would be lower or higher. It just sounds like you're surrounded.
And if
by
you
the
were
sound.
gaming, you could definitely
Oh, yes.
game in something like this.
Oh yeah, and you would hear very well.
Yeah.
So-
And you'd have to justify to everybody else in the house why you were doing this kind
Oh,
of...
exactly. Yes, the setup is a little interesting.
Yeah,
but it's really it sounds incredible.
Yeah, and what's nice is they're dull, so you don't
Yes.
get that kind of resonance sound.
And is there a difference between why you have alternating panels or?
Yeah, these styrofoam panels work better at high frequencies.
Gotcha.
The acoustic ceiling panels will work better at lower frequencies, and because it's a 5.1 system, this is one speaker, this is a second
great.
speaker.
Oh, gotcha.
That's another one, so they work in pairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so cool.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have, you could turn it off.
Oh, no problem.
So this is how the panels are constructed. One major concern is you need to isolate them as much as possible from the environment. Even if you take one of these panels, set it up on a table and lean it against a wall, you will seriously deteriorate the performance. What we discovered is the best way to isolate them is to hang them vertically from some very thin Kevlar fishing line from some hooks. And because of the load, we don't want this line to eventually saw its way through the surface. And so by drilling some oversized holes and inserting short segments of plastic pipe potted in some epoxy, we distribute the load and we protect the panel. There's another method that you can use in these thicker polystyrene panels. We just drilled some oversized holes and put some long-stemmed eye bolts down in a little bit of epoxy, and that also helps to distribute the load. Just two choices in how you might want to hang these. Now the driver has to be mounted on the back surface, and because these materials are soft, in the case of these panels, friable, to get some load distribution and provide a better surface, once we locate where we want to put the driver, what we do is we pour about 50 or 60 milliliters of a thin epoxy solution and let the material just flow out as the panel is sitting horizontally. The end result is that the epoxy gets into the fibers, produces a much stronger surface, and the top surface becomes glassy smooth. When you get these drivers from the manufacturer, they come with an extremely strong double sticky tape. When you peel off the protective layer and you insert it onto the top of the epoxy, it really grabs. We've had these in our home for over 4 years. We've never had a failure. The other thing that you'll notice is that the actuator is not located exactly in the center of the panel. The reason for that is we want as little redundancy as possible in the distance from the driver to the edge of the surface to reduce resonance peaks. So this is mounted at 40%, 60%, 40%, 60% of a panel that's not exactly a 2-to-1 ratio, and that really does improve its performance.
Okay, so there's a little booth there. You want to walk inside there? can.
Grady, you
And then
can,
whoever
because you
wants
were
it-
good at all
yeah,
this
you
stuff.
probably should.
Yeah, you should.
Okay. So he closed it off, so I have to get in here for a sec, sorry. Yeah, perfect. And you can make it loud, quiet, and you can skip through it, or you can close and go to the next one, whatever you want. Yeah, perfect. Good luck.
Thank you. That's awesome. Pick some new ones. That's pretty cool. Don't touch your foot. This is sweet. I like this. Sounds good. Pick some more.
Okay, let's try.
No, wait. It's probably gonna get a good beat in a minute. That's a good one. This sounds really good.
You like it?
Yeah. Wanna try another one? You can.
Okay,
Sure.
another. This one.
And you can turn it up if you want.
That's what I tell them.
Pictures on the gram so other people know that we're more than friends. Ever since you came around, I've never been sober, always in my head.
So what'd you think? Cool?
I think it sounds really good, don't you?
You want one of these at home? Well,
Yeah.
when we're done, we'll just pack them up.
Yeah, great idea. Yeah, sure. We've got it loud enough
Yeah,
over
right,
there.
exactly. Well, cool.
Really
Thanks for
nice.
listening.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Next, that is neat. I can't believe how clear it sounds.
Yeah, I was surprised too the first time I heard it. I thought it'd be kind of muffled.
And then we have. Okay, so little booth here.
Yep.
So if you want to enter and sit down, I'm gonna close this panel behind me.
Yep.
My dad will then come out and ask you what you thought of it.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Have fun.
Can't believe the clarity.
Yeah.
It's like, it sounds like it's all the way.
You can hit the stop down there, or you can hit the double line. Yeah.
I mean, just how the clarity of it all. Even with the hearing aids, there's no backing.
Yeah.
I don't get any back noise from it.
So you could listen to this comfortably, like if you had the right volume and everything. Like
Yeah,
this,
well,
this
that's
would be a
what
comfortable
that's what
listen.
I guess what I mean is this. It's the clarity and being able to hear it. There's no like distortion.
Despite the fact that you got the hearing aids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Which
That's
is
pretty
cool.
neat.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Well, I told your wife.
I was
if you
thinking, I'm
want,
like,
we could just
I'm gonna
bring
hit
these
Alex.
over.
I'm gonna hit Alex up for the playlist.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
a pretty good playlist. I
All
like
right.
that.
Yeah, no problem.
That's pretty cool.
So Alex,
built those speakers?
yeah, it was an experiment several years ago, just playing around with.
Thank you.
songs up for the playlist.